Be free from this tyranny. The Dress Act, they did say we're taking your tartan away. The Act of the Union has been such a blow. 300 years under Westminster foe. Scottish resistance, I will always be. Scottish resistance, it's my destiny. The family clan, I will wear my tartan. Our heritage runs through our veins, we'll pass it on to our bands. We are in pain and are suffering. This global pandemic is killing me and my family. The corporate giant is giving me minimum wage. My dignity's gone and I'm sitting here lost again. We are told what to do and where to go, who to see by our own society. Scottish resistance, I will always be. Scottish resistance, it's my destiny. Family clan, I will wear my tartan. Our heritage runs through our veins, and we'll pass it on to our bands. Rob the poor, feed the rich. Well, isn't life such a bitch? How can we live this way? The Tories are here to stay. My Scottish pride, I need to decide my ancestors' pain. For my gain, I should hang my head in shame. We are to blame to let Westminster rule our brain. Scottish resistance, I will always be. Scottish resistance, it's my destiny. The family clan, I will wear my tartan. Our heritage runs through our veins, we'll pass it on to our bands.
Good evening, everyone. This is Scottish Resistance Chat Show, live from the Scottish Resistance community page on the Monday, 24th of January 2022. First of all, I want to make a wee announcement. Is that in the next couple of weeks we will announce when we're going to start doing that. We're going to make a little change in the programming. Something that James and I talked about yesterday is that we've heard back from people about, all the conspiracy theory things that we did on the show. What we're going to do is we're going to create a separate show for that. So if you want to watch that, you can watch that, but you wouldn't be in it watching this show and have to go through it if you don't want to go through it. So that's what we want to do. Is we're going to create a new show that, like 3 weeks out of the month, we're going to do the regular show, and 1 week we're going to have a show like that. So I'm not sure if we're going to start doing that straight away next week, for instance, but we'll let you know. Next to that, I want to welcome everybody to the chat, and people like Wendy MacDonald, Irene Manson, Dave Llewellyn, George Neve, Gail McAteer, Mandy Garden, John Sweeney, Thomas MacArthur from work. Start working, mate. And that's about the names that I see at this point. Then I want to welcome the panel. Luckily, he was able to jump in at last minute because Thomas couldn't make it. He was called into work. Daniel and his friend, the Swear Jar. I switched it around this week. So, how you doing, mate?
How you doing, folks? You all right? Glad to be back again.
Great.
Luckily, only just made it with literally seconds to go. You know what I mean? But hey ho, I'm here.
Well, we started a couple of minutes late, so that helped as well. So great, mate. Great having you on.
Thanks for having me back.
I remember the first time she was on the show. She was hesitant on coming on the show, but now she's kind of like a regular on the show. So, Wendy MacDonald, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. And I promise tonight I'm not going to swear once at all. I'm leaving that for Daniel.
We have to fill up the jar. So for Independence Live, we swear to support Independence Live. So.
Aye, that's a good idea.
That's what we decided. That's what we're going to do. We're going to donate it to Independence Live because it is I donate to food banks all the time. So this jar will be donated to Independence Live.
For the contents.
Well, Daniel,
the contents then.
Daniel, Raimond, Daniel, that's a fucking great idea. Can you put £1 in there for me and I'll be it when I swear?
So much for not swearing tonight.
Yeah. And finally our founder, Mr. James Scott. How you doing, mate?
I'm fine, Raymond. How are you?
I'm doing good. You didn't have that good of a week last week?
No. My mother died on the 14th of January after a long illness with Alzheimer's. And I remember a recent post that Daniel put up about Alzheimer's. Very, very true. The brain shrinks and people forget all their family, and it was very sad to see my mother fade away like that. The last few days she just slept, and most of the family were around the bedside when she died. And
that's good.
Another great patriot, by the way. My mother was a Cameron, the Cameron line. Camerons were one of the best Scottish clans. Cameron of Lochiel was one of the first clans to declare for Bonnie Prince Charlie, and through my mother's line it descends right back to Cameron of Lochiel. Very good Scottish patriot. She always supported independence, and she was a good singer, sang a lot of Scottish songs. So sadly missed, and it's going to be a sad occasion on Wednesday when it will be her funeral, and I've actually got the eulogy. I've done the eulogy which I will be reading at the funeral. That's very sad time.
You did the same for your dad, right? Years back.
Another Scottish patriot gone.
Yeah, but you did the same for your dad years back.
I did the same for my dad, who by the way was a great Scottish patriot. I've still got a picture in my wallet which I will have until the day we get independence of my dad with Wendy Wood, who was the leader of the Scottish Patriots. I was also a member of the Scottish Patriots for many, many years. So I keep that photo in my wallet with my dad with Wendy Wood. So hoping that one
Very like
day,
your dad, James. You're very like your dad.
a lot of people say that. I've put photos up of my dad before, so a lot of people have said that. He was a very, very smart man, my dad. Very, very smart guy. And
Sorry about the loss of your mum.
well, sadly missed, but we're all going to die eventually, unfortunately.
Mm.
Aye.
Yeah,
It's hard going watching her go, by the way. It was so terrible.
it is.
But well, let's move on, guys.
Definitely,
Aye.
I will. All right, guys. Our first topic for tonight is something that really, it's over the years it turned out to be a problem, but now it's more obvious now. Healthcare and the privatization of the NHS. A couple of years back, I went to my girlfriend and I went on a trip to Wales, to Cardiff, and we did a day trip to Bristol. And when we arrived there by train, the height difference between the exit of the train and the platform was unreal. It was absolutely ridiculous. So I had to jump out. I couldn't step out. I had to jump out, and my knee gave way. So we had to go spend some time in the emergency room there in Bristol. And the only thing I had to do was show my passport for identification purposes. And they gave me crutches, they gave me pain medication, and they checked me out. Now, why am I saying this? That's the NHS, and the NHS in England has even already been sold off more than it is in Scotland at this point. But right then and there, that's what, you turn up, you get the help you need. That's what the NHS is all about in Scotland as well. But what do you think when commercial foreign companies take over? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Sicko by Michael Moore.
I have seen it.
It's bloody scary as hell.
Yeah.
When you go in for heart surgery or a transplant or whatever, and they basically cancel your insurance or deny you coverage because of a pre-existing condition, and it might even be a chronic cold or something, and they deny you, but you keep paying your premium and everything. That's what's awaiting everyone when the NHS gets sold off, and it's just another reason. It's just another reason why Scotland needs its independence, because they really don't want to go down that route. James.
Well, what you were saying there about that film Sicko, I mean, in America, a lot of elderly people that get sick, what happens is they lose everything they have. They lose their house, they lose their car, they lose everything.
Yeah.
They've got to sell all their possessions to pay the high medical bills. America isn't a land of freedom and dreams. It's a bloody awful place. Most Americans live in poverty. For years, they tried to sell us this Dallas and dynasty look about America, but that's just not true. That's only a very, very small percentage of the population. Most people in America struggle. And I'll tell you something, ordinary workers in America, they're lucky. Honestly, they're lucky if they got 1 week's holiday a year. 1 week's holiday. So the National Health Service is something we've got to be grateful for. But it's the only bloody thing I've found you can be grateful for in this system that we have. Canada has a system similar to us. You don't pay for your healthcare in Canada. So a lot of Americans moved over the border to Canada. Now, about this NHS, as you know, I was in hospital last year. Now, I've got nothing against the nurses, people that work there, because they're understaffed. And that's the important word, understaffed, because I'm going to move on and tell you the reason I'm saying that. But while I was in there, it was bloody dreadful. Every morning, breakfast, was a cold bloody lump of porridge. I kid you not, it was a solid bloody cold lump of porridge. And Scots that like their porridge, like your porridge hot. Bloody frozen lump of porridge. So every morning they come in with us saying, you don't get any hot porridge. Oh, we've got too many people to serve up. What they were probably doing is they're probably putting this out in a bowl for about 40, 45 minutes before they serve people. So while I was in there, I got bloody nothing to eat. Because even if they gave you a bowl of soup, it was frozen. I had to get food bloody imported in. Family members had to bring food in because everything was a freaking disaster. And the other thing as well is, eventually I complained so much to get one of the so-called person who looks after food to make sure everything runs smoothly come in to see me. And I told her about the porridge being cold every morning. She says, tomorrow morning, I guarantee you'll get hot porridge. Next morning, what do you think happened, folks? Another bloody bowl of freaking frozen porridge.
God's sake.
Listen, it's a freaking disaster in there. These hospitals, that's getting a bad name, by the way, that Queen Elizabeth Hospital. A lot of people have died there contracting illnesses going into hospital. It's getting a real bad name. The NHS, it's not just the privatisation we've got to worry about. It's the bloody way they're run now. It's a fucking disaster. It really is. Now, regarding what's going to happen in future, they're already understaffed. Now, there's been big protests in London, and I mean big protests, against NHS workers who are going to be sacked in April. Listen to this, over 70,000 medical staff, nurses and doctors. 73. It could be 73. I heard it was over 70,000, Daniel. You may well be right. It may well be as high as 73. Let's say it is 73. 73,000 medical people, doctors and nurses that have been working through this pandemic. They're going to sack them in April. It'll probably be 1st April, bloody April Fool's Day. Can you imagine what's going to happen if they sack 70,000 doctors and nurses? They already can't cope. They already can't cope just now. And they're going to sack 70,000 NH workers in April. These are medical people who are not taking the vaccine. And it's their bloody right if they choose not to take it. They should not be forced. They should not be forced. Even if you believe in this vaccine that doesn't work. People should not be forced to take a vaccine. Healthy people should not be forced to take a vaccine. So, what are they going to do? They're going to sack 73,000 bloody workers? What the hell's going to happen to all these hospitals? What's going to happen? It's going to be a bloody nightmare. It's already a nightmare. It's going to be 100 times worse.
They're selling it off.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just you know it's happening. You don't want to spin your head around it, but you know it's happening. And for me, of course, I'm living here in the Netherlands, but I just have experienced a little bit of what the NHS should be. It's sickening, and it's just not just the NHS, but everything is sold off to private companies. It started here a long time ago when the post, the National Post Office was sold off. Right now, you don't have postmen anymore. It's just people that have a couple of hours a day that only do certain areas. It's not like it was anymore. It's not, it's ridiculous. Everything is sold off just for the almighty pound, dollar, yen, ruble, whatever. And
Tories.
So yeah, you got them everywhere, not just in the UK. But it's just sickening. It's just sickening, and it really needs to stop. Wendy.
See what James was saying there about the hospitals being in a state. I couldn't quite believe how bad a state they were in. I've not been in the hospital for a while, and one of my friends was in there, and she sent me photos of cracks in the wall, like spaces you could actually poke your finger through, the state of the floors, the lino was all stained and everything. It was an awful state. But what James was saying there about America as well, in 2017, the life expectancy in America was 78.6. Yeah, in the UK it was 81.3. So that's a difference in the UK and America with the NHS. Also, talking about Circle, for example, the government gave them huge amounts of money, and they then joined up with a company called Deloitte, I think that's how you say it. They're an accountancy, gave them tons and tons of money. And guess who owns Circle? What did you call him? Oh, Winston Flaming Churchill, the terrorist. His grandson owns Circle, so he does. You know that?
Yep.
Look at the money that's coming in there. It's profit before people.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Right over here, it's not as bad as it is in the US, of course. Nothing hardly is, but right here, a little while, about a year and a half ago, I think there was this hospital that was closed. And if you hear the reason why it's closed, they closed it because it didn't make enough profit.
I know, it's terrible. It's really bad.
Just let that sink in. And that's what is going to happen when NHS gets sold off. That is what is going to happen. There's no way to get
nothing
around
that the public sector can do just as good as the private sector.
Exactly.
If not
the
better.
Public purse is being squeezed while the private's getting the money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
And that's for profit.
Yeah. Of course. Basically, everything is it's all about profit.
Health shouldn't be for profit.
No.
Should not.
No.
Your health should not be for profit.
No.
We believe in a society of saving life rather than letting life go.
Yeah, but the thing is, mate, healthy people can be more profitable to society.
Ooh.
So why in hell?
Absolutely.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. It
It's
does.
not about that, though, is it, Raymond? It's about the here and now. Sorry.
Sick people, keeping people sick is very profitable for Big Pharma. They want people to be sick and keep them on medication. They want everybody to be on medications.
There's no profit in cure, James.
Just about everybody I know in my age group are on one medication or another. I'm on none. I've kept fairly healthy. The only time I get ill was with that bloody COVID, the Kung Flu last year. I mean, apart from that, I've been fairly healthy throughout my life.
Not everybody's like that.
Yeah, everybody else I know that had all their vaccines throughout their life, they're all bloody get this sickness and that sickness, and all getting medication for this, medication for that. Don't have any medications.
Okay.
I was just making that point there. Yeah.
Well,
it's a good point, though.
Yeah,
it's definitely
it is. And if we look at, I'm already sure that there's a cure for cancer. I absolutely am sure.
Listen. We all know
they won't get any funding once there is a cure. So
why is it? I mean,
we all know what the cures are.
Yeah, everybody's seen
cannabinoids.
Everybody's seen the experiment. It's proven right in front of your bloody eyes. They inject cancer cells with cannabis oil, and it bloody destroys every single bloody one of them, right?
Yep.
So why is it all these bloody cancer research bloody companies are going about, these so-called charities, giving their fucking boss $400,000 a year for playing golf on a golf course, while folk are going about with tins collecting for cancer research? Why are they not researching the bloody thing that's making the difference? It's right in front of the bloody eyes. Research cannabis oil more. They might be able to make it more effective than already what it is. They know it destroys cancer cells.
Well, look at Theresa May's man. He owns one of the biggest flaming cannabis farms, doesn't he?
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
UK, yes.
Yeah.
And it's transported around the world. We are now the largest exporter of medical marijuana in the world.
Yeah.
And that is Theresa May's husband.
One of the fields.
Mm-hmm. And yet it's illegal in the UK.
Oh,
If it was devolved, if that was a devolved policy to Scotland, I'm absolutely, in fact, I'm sure it was it 97%? About 3 years ago at the SNP conference, it was something like 97, 98%, excuse me, in favour of legalising or decriminalising cannabis. Right? And that was at SNP conference, right? Not trying to do the politics side here. I'm just saying that if we were independent and we had, it's the only way we're going to get devolved drug policy, basically. And I guarantee you right now, it'll be England that will want to put the borders up.
Oh, aye.
Now, I've always advocated for a border between England and Scotland. I have. Right? I might be English. I'm a proud Scottish citizen, but I absolutely 100% support a Scottish border. I really do. Absolutely, I do. Because I'm telling you now, we don't want what the mindset of the English people. I'm sorry, right? If I sound racist here, I'm told I'm not racist. I can't be racist because I'm English, right? But I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, the mindset of the English people, what they've been fed all these years, all the lies and the bullshit and, sorry, apologies. Basically, don't want that coming across the border. Don't want that infecting England. Infecting Scotland. I think it's already infecting Scotland. But I think Scottish patriots are more of the mindset of teaching English people now. Do you know what I mean? I know what I do. I'm constantly teaching the English people. Most of them that I speak to, they want a revolution in England. They want an overthrow of that government.
Voting the fucking Tories. And they want a revolution. Thanks, Daniel.
But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I want that Scottish border, but I'll bet you any money, if Scotland decriminalises or legalises cannabis, that border, England's going to want that border because, believe it or not, it is money they are making. They are making money from cannabis, but also by keeping it illegal as well, because they are now the net exporters around the world for cannabis. Used to be Jamaica and Barbados and all that, and the Netherlands as well. Most things came through the Netherlands. Not anymore. It's now leaving the UK and going, well, I don't know with all this Brexit carry on, but no doubt they'll get certain discompensations or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Right,
can I just go back to a point that you were making before?
Quickly, because we do have to get on in a bit, but go on.
Right, just quick one. Your experience in the QE. I was in the QE about 3 months ago as well.
Yeah.
They saved my life, right? I wasn't able to eat, so I didn't get that same sort of experience as you. The only bad thing that I noticed in the QE, the main bad thing that really stuck in my mind was the bullying between the staff, especially nurses to auxiliary nurses, and that sort of the bullying that was. 6 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't even 6. It was like 5 o'clock or something in the morning, and I'm wide awake, and the way they were speaking to the auxiliary nurses, and I've got to say, one of them was she was probably from Jamaican descent, Barbados, that area sort of thing, and she had decent English, good English, sort of speaking everything, but the way the staff were treating her and speaking to her, I was so unbelievably disgusted, and I actually pulled a few members of staff and said, I'm not going to put in a formal complaint, an official complaint, but I want you to know what's going on here, and I recognise, I'm trying not to swear, I recognise that, and I thought that was absolutely disgusting, but the care I received was pretty top notch, there was a couple of different things that I seen, and you know, maybe the way some of the staff acted and spoke to people and things like that. I didn't get your experience, James, but my experience wasn't as bad as yours. But I'm not discounting yours, because I also know of other people that have gone through similar sort of things in the QE. I ultimately think that's down to the management. And that's not me backing up Mr. Aina Sawa. That's me just basically saying, you know, there is definitely, it needs an overhaul of the management of that place, basically, and they need to get the staff into some sort of, I don't know, a meeting or something of some sort, and told and taught, because I've heard it on many different occasions by other people, the bullying that goes on in that hospital, but it's also going on right through the NHS at the moment, is the bullying that's going on. Do you know what I mean? It really is, and that's something that does need to be dealt with. Sorry, James, on you go, pal.
Well, I did experience that as well, actually, when you're saying that, Daniel. I saw a girl that was she was a Russian nurse, and she was getting something awful. She was getting shouted at and sworn at. One day she came into my room and she forgot to put a mask on. Did she get hell for the senior nurse? You forgot to put your mask on, blah, blah, blah. Shouting and bawling at her, so she was. Now, the one other thing that I noticed being in the COVID intensive care unit was that every single nurse in that unit had COVID. So what they do is they put nurses in the intensive care unit who've had COVID, because whether it's right or wrong, a lot of people say you can build up natural immunity. I really do believe that. If you've had the COVID, you
absolutely
can build up immunity. And these nurses were dealing with patient after patient who had COVID in an intensive care unit. Every single nurse I spoke to had COVID previously. But you're right enough about the bullying. Now, when I went in there as well, the first doctor I saw, I would call him Dr. Death. He had me dead. He says, "You're probably going to die with this because you don't have any antibodies." Now, that's a load of bloody nonsense, because see, the next day, this lovely doctor came in, a female doctor, and she told me, that's a lot of nonsense. Everybody's got antibodies to fight off viruses. It's just that the COVID virus is particularly bad. Your antibodies, you do sometimes have less antibodies because it's such a terrible virus. It says you have got antibodies and they are fighting the virus. And that doctor was very good. Every day she came in to see me. And I've got to say, just like what you said, they did save my life at the end of the day. There's good doctors and nurses, but I did experience the bullying that you're talking about. So
there are some bad ones, I've got to say. There are some. I mean, sorry to interrupt, James, but you just said basically kind of what I'm saying there. Basically, you had one doctor come in and tell you one thing, and then another doctor come in and tell you that's complete and utter bullshit.
Absolutely.
Now, hold the fuck on a minute. Yeah, that's two different things by two so-called professional. Sorry, apologies, that was too far.
That's what's happening with this COVID. But they're giving a one-sided view of it. All the doctors that are against an experimental vaccine are told to shut their bloody mouth.
That's right, yeah.
Whereas the ones that are in the agenda of the mainstream media are allowed to bloody well go on and on and on about it.
Okay. But hold on. Let's not digress, because again, no matter what we're talking about, we're digressing into COVID. So let's not do that, because we're already halfway through the show and we are still on the first topic.
So I'm going to press mute for 1 minute. I just need to nip to the toilet. Sorry, folks.
I am going to go on, so you just jump in.
You don't hold on.
No. Go ahead.
Right, go on, I'll wait.
No, go on. You got the job.
You need a job here.
No. Well, we have to move on, but I do want to mix the order of the topics up a bit, because, like I said, we already been halfway through the show, and we do have one thing that we definitely need to talk about, and that's the week in history. After James has said what he wants to say, we have a video that concerns this, so I'm going to play a little video. James, this week in history.
Right, this week in history, we're talking about Robert Burns. He was born on the 25th of January, on this date, 25th of January, 1759. probably the most prolific writer, poet that Scotland has ever had. He wrote over 400 songs and poems. Unfortunately, this man died quite young. He was only 37, which is not old, 37. And years later, there was a test done on his hair, and they found a lot of mercury in the samples. And these days, mercury was used a lot as a medicine, but mercury is a bloody deadly poison. And just like what happened to Burns, I think there are, now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of medicines that are good for people, but there are a lot of medicines that bloody well make people worse. I don't want to go back on any COVID again, but I'm just telling you, there's a lot of medicines they're going to find out. They're going to find out in years to come that bloody medicines that they're giving people are killing them, not bloody curing them. As I say, anyway, back to Burns. 37 years of age, he died of mercury poisoning. They found samples and a hair sample that was taken. It was full of bloody mercury, which was used in medicines way back in these days. Just like they used to believe that bloody leeches could cure you things. They're going to find in the future a lot of the medicines they're using are now bloody fucking deadly.
Burns.
Anyway, Burns. We'll do Thomas's song, and then I'll do a wee reading. One of Burns' poem. Without it in front of me, I'll do it off by heart.
No worries. No worries, mate. Like James said, it's another song that our fellow admin Thomas MacArthur has wrote, and it's a great song. So I hope you guys will like it. Let's just start it, and here we go.
While I sit and read in my bed, old poetry comes into my head. The day draws near, the 25th will be here. I long to hear from the National Bard. That can't be bad, I'm inspired to write a song for a man long gone. I'm torn between old and new. Rabbi Burns, Scotland loves you. A burnt supper for me and my family. Haggis, neeps and tatties, at its best I do not jest. A whiskey dram keep me calm. Sit by the fire is my desire. A dog with me, I'm home and free. What would Ravi make of today? He would shake in his grave the way we behave. Love and trust did fade away. Hardship and pain still remain when he walked along the pathway in either way. Oh, nothing has changed. I'm torn between old and new. Rabbi Burns, Scotland loves you. A burnt supper for me and my family. Haggis, neeps and tatties, at its best I do not jest. A whiskey dram to keep me calm. Sit by the fire is my desire. A dog with me, I'm home and free. Now at my tea, sitting with me, daughter and son, they don't look you in the eye as they text to each other. Minutes go by, wonder why. My heart is so low, we live in a computer age. Life has come to the extreme, no one can be seen. Take your eyes up from the screen. I'm torn between old and new. Abby Burns, Scotland loves you. A burnt supper for me and my family. Haggis, neeps and tatties, at its best I do not jest. A whiskey dram to keep me calm. Sit by the fire is my desire. My dog with me, I'm home and free. A burnt supper for me and my family. Haggis, neeps and tatties, at its best I do not jest. Whiskey dram to keep me calm. Sit by the fire is my desire. My dog with me, I'm home and free.
And we're back, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that. James, go ahead.
Yeah, what you want me to go ahead with?
Oh, with the Burns topic, you wanted to do
Boris!
All right. You want to give me a Burns poem? All right, I'll give you a Burns poem. Right, it's the one about the Union, the Burns poem about the Union. And I've not got the words in front of me, so it's been a wee while since I've done this, but I'll see if I can remember all the words. Farewell to all our Scottish fame. Farewell our ancient glory. Farewell even to the Scottish name, sae famed in martial story. Now Sark runs o'er the Solway sand, and Tweed runs to the ocean, to mark where England's province stands. Such a parcel of rogues in a nation. I've just did the first verse. There's many verses to it, and I know we're short of time.
All right, mate, thanks.
Excellent.
Thanks. The next topic that we want to talk about is something that's been in the news quite a while. The crisis that's going on in between Russia and the Ukraine. James, you want to start us off on that?
Yeah, the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Now, this could have dramatic consequences for the future of this. Right, let's go back to the old Soviet Union, the USSR. Nobody ever thought it would break up. That's the first point. These unions, nobody thinks they'll break up, but they eventually do. Czechoslovakia was a so-called political union, broke up. Yugoslavia was a so-called union, it broke up. All these bloody unions break up in the end because they're unstable, because they're unfair. Russia was taking the wealth from all the other wee countries within the Soviet Union and the big countries, because Ukraine was the second biggest country in the USSR, the old USSR. Now, why do you think Russia wants Ukraine back? Anybody, any ideas?
Because it's the biggest country, and it's got Crimea, and also the accesses that it's got to the west and other areas, basically.
That's a very good point. It's got access to other countries in Europe.
Oil pipelines.
Yeah, oil pipelines go from Russia through Ukraine to supply lots of European countries. But by that, Ukraine is rich in minerals. It's rich in titanium, rock salt, natural gas. It's the world's leading producer. Listen to this. The world's leading producer of sunflower oil. Most of your sunflower oil you get is coming through from Ukraine. World's leading producer. It's a country that's rich in minerals. It's got some of the deepest coal mines in the world. It supplies lots of coal. Rich in minerals, rich in coal, rich in gas. The pipelines, as you say, are going through Russia to supply countries in Europe. Russia wants Ukraine back. Now, they've got a lot of Russian settlers in the Ukraine. So there's a bit of racial tension there. Because these Russians that are in Ukraine want Russia to take over Ukraine again. It's a rich country and Russia wants them back. Now, think of the consequences if they did invade Ukraine. It's going to be a bloodbath. But America's starting to talk up that they're going to get involved. Now, if they get involved, as you mentioned earlier, it could break in a third world war. This is the thing that's the most dangerous thing from our country's point of view, Scotland. Because of all the countries in Europe, where are all these bloody missiles all situated? Fast lane. It's only 20 miles from bloody Glasgow. Now,
20 miles from my house.
Yeah. It's estimated, folks, and these are estimates by so-called experts on nuclear. It's estimated that 90% of our population
Scotland
will be wiped out in Scotland if there is a third world war.
Yep.
Nobody's worried about it. We're not worried about getting bloody COVID. We're not worried about getting blown away as one of 90% of our population. Just think about that for a second. 90% of our population are going to get killed off if a third world war breaks out. Because this is the first bloody area in Europe that's going to be hit.
But you know, James, you get the missiles because it's a deterrent. So
no, it's an invite to be the first place to be hit.
And again, guys, the UK government doesn't even have control over them.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
It's Americans.
It's that little red button in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
It's two red buttons.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
But Britain can't activate theirs without the authorization and activation of the United States.
You're just paying for the upkeep.
Well, it's not even the United States, is it? It's actually just the American government, basically.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm sorry to say, but most Americans are as dumb as hell.
Yes, I agree. Sorry, and that's not me being racist. I only agree in the fact that they follow the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know
bullshit
what I mean?
Yeah. But unfortunately, folk, that's the way I look at this bloody situation. If Ukraine is invaded by Russia, it could lead to a third world war. I don't think I've got enough time to get out of here and get my family out of here to get away, because this place is going to go up in a blue light. 90% of our population will be wiped off the face of the earth if a third world war breaks out.
It's all about the divide there, the east and the west, so it is. And like you were saying, James, a lot of the Ukrainians, they were put out, and the Russians settled in, and there's a lot of Russian sympathisers in there. It's awful. It's really, really awful, and they don't. And some parts of it as well, their culture's not allowed, their language is not allowed either. And we saying about the money and that, and some of them are really, really poor. And I can see some similarities, like with the oil, just everything. I can see everything's kind of similar, and at the end of the day, it all boils down to money.
See what you say what's similar there.
Hold on. And I don't want to start to turn this topic around into COVID, but Thomas MacArthur made a comment. At least it will kill COVID. Now, nobody will be alive to catch COVID, but.
But
James, sorry.
See what Wendy was talking about there. When you look at USSR, when it broke up, most of the countries were given their independence when the USSR broke up. Right?
It was in 1991 Ukraine had its independence. It had a wee bit back earlier than that, but
Yeah, absolutely. But there was one country, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a country that the USSR, Russia did not want them to get their independence. It was a country called Chechnya. Now, the reason for that is this wee country was very, very rich in oil, very rich in oil. So all of a sudden, these people became dirty, nasty terrorist separatists. You know, and this is the news that went all around the world. Everybody's going, these dirty, stinking separatists. But they were fighting for their independence because their country was rich in oil and these people were living in bloody poverty.
James.
James, their culture was banned. The way they spoke, exactly, the tartan was banned. I see it all the same. It's all kind of
same thing.
Wendy, exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Imperialism is the same. The country that is being controlled by the dirty, stinking imperialists that are made out to be nasty, horrible, dirty, stinking separatists, when all they are is ordinary people that just want to live a good life and be as equal as the next person in the next country. That's all.
And then also the Highland clearances, and then also they shipped people out here and put, do you know what I mean?
Language. The language.
Yeah. Yeah, that's suppressing the language as well.
In that time.
No, I didn't mean swearing language as in swearing, but I meant the Gaelic language was really not allowed. Let me just put it in mildly. That's why.
Does that mean I can take some money back out of the jar now?
No.
Well, if you tell that to Kevin. But
I'm joking.
I know, mate. I know.
Once it's in the jar, it stays in the jar.
No, but it is a scary thing. What's going on? And
can I just say, I don't think we're going to get World War III with this Russia-Ukraine thing. I don't think we're going to get World War III with that. I think the stakes are far too high. Not going into conspiracy theories and all that. Doesn't matter what we think about what's gone on with the pandemics and so on and so forth. This with this very hard talk that's coming from the West and Russia, and the misinformation that's coming from all of them, every single one of them, needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. I don't see that we're going to go for World War III because, like I said, the stakes are too high. We're all basically nuclear powers, and it'll only take one of them to be set off that would cause a chain reaction, and they're not going to do that because that would actually destroy the world. We're going through a climate change. Right, the climate change thing is now being recognised. No. You believe what you want to believe. I do believe that there is.
See that big fiery ball? It's 93 million miles away. It's 99.9% of the mass of the solar system. A big, enormous ball of fire. That's the only bloody thing that makes any difference to the heat on this planet. And we should be bloody grateful that we're in the right bloody position to get enough heat and light for us to have life. Because the other planets are too bloody cold, and
I don't know, James. I was pure Baltic the day. I was fucking freezing the day.
Bloody freezing. I'll tell you another bloody thing they're not telling you, folks.
Hold on. No.
Because they're getting colder every fucking year.
Listen. We're not gonna do that. Fact is only what you want to believe. So I'm not, and that goes for.
Let's agree to disagree on certain things.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's agree to disagree. Let me finish what I was saying about the Ukraine thing, Ukraine-Russia thing. I don't think there will be World War III with it, right? I think it is all hype and tension and bluster talk and so on and so forth. I can't see there being World War III because all the ones that are doing all this, they're all nuclear powers. They're all the biggest nuclear powers, apart from Britain. Britain's not a nuclear power. They just got access to nuclear power, basically. You know what I mean? They like to talk a good talk. Do you know what I mean? But they're full of fucking shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll put 2 coins in for that one. I don't think there's going to be a World War III. I think this is just going to be bluster. This, do you know what I mean? And it's also scaring the populations and everything as well. There might be a war, but it's not going to cause a World War III.
I just worry about the people living there. That's the thing.
Absolutely. I mean, the world has become, well, most of the world has become a society of looking after life, believing in life. However, the other side of it is the world's too overpopulated. We can't sustain. We can't sustain with what we got. You know what I mean?
Try to reduce the population.
Absolutely, and I do believe there is an element somewhere of this to do with pandemics, wars, so on and so forth, whatever. But back to my point, I don't think there's going to be World War III with this.
Well,
I don't.
Not, because it's going to be horrendous.
And like you said, James, if they wanted to take out one of them world powers, that would be the UK, Britain, basically. And it's not Britain that they would basically do, it's Scotland. And it's, no offence, I know you said 90%. All the research I did was 87% of Scotland would be dead. Well, actually, no. 69% of Scotland would be dead. There would be, I think it was 18% or something that would be completely disformed, disfigured, whatever. There'd only be about 13% of Scotland, and that's the very North Islands, and like your Shetlands, Orkneys, whatever, Western Isles and all that, that would not be affected as much. But to me, that's far too high a price for anybody, anywhere to pay.
But see, at the end of the day, see people
Get
like
the
us,
fucking
we don't
Trident
matter.
off the fucking Clyde. Sorry.
We don't matter, but we don't matter, Daniel.
You've got a swear jar as well.
I don't get a word in edgewise, so that doesn't really matter if I have a jar or not. No, I'm just kidding.
I think you're the only person not on my tick list, Raymond.
Well, in not doing that, maybe. But no, but one thing that's for sure, whether or not it will be a World War III, and like we all believe, we certainly hope it won't be. It's a scary situation, and it's just couple of people are just saying, "Oh, I've got the biggest balls. I've got the biggest balls," and that's basically what it is at this point. And 4,000, 100,000 on the Russian side, 4,000 troops on the other side. Yeah, probably America's gonna, but America has got a lot to gain when on European soil something starts up. So that's just hope. Nothing happens there.
Well, when you think about it, both world wars were started on European soil.
Exactly.
Next topic.
Well, we only got 3 minutes to go, so if we can do the topics in... no, I'm just kidding. The final topic that we have, and I'm not sure if we can talk long about it, but is the inflation and rise of cost. That's the inflation, take for instance just department stores, grocery stores and everything, just food, basic food, fresh produce. It's just ridiculous how expensive everything is getting. But most important thing, and that's not just in the UK, that's everywhere at this point, electricity, gas, it's just unbelievable. Like for instance, today I had to switch companies because my contract was running out, and then you have variable cost. And right now I pay around 150 euros a month, and it is going over 200 at this point, and that's okay. I've heard people that basically went from 80 euros a month and then were going over to 100, 250 euros a month. It's just utter ridiculous. And one of the reasons here in the Netherlands then is that the northern part of the country where a lot of the gas was taken out of the ground, as a result of that, there were a lot of earthquakes, and they shut everything down. Now they want to start it up again for two reasons. One, of course, we don't want to be why do you say that, dependent on foreign gas like the ones from Russia, or and to keep the price down, money. So that's again money. That's why they're taking it out and just take the earthquakes. For what is it? Just collateral damage, basically. But also because Germany needs more gas. Now, so basically, you people that live in an area that has earthquakes because of taking gas out of the ground, you're gonna take more out, so it will cause more earthquakes because the Germans want more gas. Now, let that sink in. But that's only one of the reasons why the price of gas, especially gas, rises. So the electricity bill, the gas bill, goes sky high, and that's everywhere. For us here, that's the reason. But in the UK, a lot of the things, most of the things, why prices go up, and we come back to it again, Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, that's
Absolutely.
the main reason. Daniel.
Yes, I absolutely totally agree. To be honest with you, the energy question, I'm extremely confused, swearing a lot in my head, considering Scotland actually, we can produce 100%.
Not just in your head, mate. Not just in your head.
Pardon?
You're not just swearing in your head.
No.
We can hear it.
Oh, you don't want to see inside there, mate, trust me.
No, but you're right, Daniel. You're right.
Oh, fucking hell.
No.
That'd be full 10 times over.
It would
But
help Independence Live. But
Scotland being one of the renewable capitals of the world, basically. You know what I mean? And we export. I mean, we went over this on other chat shows, haven't we? 20.7%. Just was it not last year? I think it was the year before. 20.7% of England's energy we gave for fuck all. Sorry, apologies again.
As usual, why are we not benefiting for something we produce?
Why are our energy prices going through the roof like everybody else's when we're the actual producers of it?
Yeah.
Why? I'm sorry, but something stinks to fucking high heaven on this crap. You know what I mean? That's
He's
bollocks.
making a lot of money on it, so they are.
Absolutely. And England, and no offence to the English people, but England as a whole, their government, whatever, they take that. They don't pay us for it. We get nothing. We still get our Barnett consequentials.
They
What?
don't even know they're getting it for us either, probably.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And yet, why are our bills practically doubling? Practically over the next 12 months, they expect our energy to double. Double. Now, people that are struggling already, how the bloody hell are they going to...
It's terrible. It's heat or
Sorry.
eat. It's heat or eat, Daniel. That's what it comes down to.
Mm. And how can you eat your food? How can you eat your food without
And
having
then
heat
you're weighing,
and food?
then also your Wayne needs a new pair of shoes for school. How are you going to afford that, Wayne's shoes? They're needing dinner money. They're going in. Well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't afford it.
I suppose I'm lucky with my child's school, Wendy, because there has been occasional times. I mean, maybe he's dirtied his school shoes or something, or he's. Do you know what I mean? Along them lines, and I've sent him to school in civvies or in civvy shoes or whatever, and the schools, they don't say anything. They're fine.
No.
I think we do have a very understanding, which is very surprising.
Well,
considering where I live.
it is really good, Daniel, because you have like kids that maybe they're in unfortunate circumstances where their parents can't afford things, and they can go to the school and they do get clothes and nothing said. There's no big deal made about it either. There's some kids with their parents maybe can't afford to get washing powder for their washing machine. Or
well, you know where I live. I live in a place where it's a very, 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 very wealthy place, this. And it has that snobbery. It has got that village mentality, but the snobby village mentality. However, the school seems to deal with it well.
They do look after the veins that way, so they do. They don't like to stop bullying and things like that as well. Do you know what I mean? They really are good.
Yeah. Sorry, James, on you go, pal.
Right, I was just going to say about the electricity thing. As we're talking, there's electricity pylons at the border pumping electricity into England. Water's going over the border.
Yeah.
I mean, regarding this inflation and these recent talks about energy prices going up, we should be paying practically nothing for our electricity here in Scotland because we're a major producer of electricity. And the sad thing is, we're giving a lot of electricity to England. Now, Scotland is a colder country than England, right? The further south you go, the warmer it is. They don't need to use as much heat as us. Yet, we're supplying them with all the bloody electricity to heat their homes.
Let me.
Here in Scotland are paying these inflated price for these greedy bastards. Put money in your swear jar there and I'll get you
No, it's true.
You're on the tick list, James.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I find it disgusting, by the way.
Yeah.
No, and when we go into things like whiskey, you can go to, this is crazy, you can go to other countries in the world and buy a bottle of whiskey cheaper than you can get it here in bloody Scotland where we bloody make it. How many million things have we got to mention that are wrong with us fucking news before somebody does something about it?
James, let me say two things. First of all, I have to correct you. You said we give or supply them with electricity. No, they steal it. They steal it. It's produced here, and if you don't get paid, it gets stolen. So let me have a bit of a correction. But the thing you mentioned, you nailed the nail on the head with the whiskey, and I've said this before on either show. If you look at the world produce of whiskey, about 80% is made in Scotland. 80%. Let it sink in. 80%. Ireland has about 8%. So that's 10 times as less as Scotland produces. They get more from it than Scotland does. Now that should tell you.
Scotland has to be independent. We need to be independent. There's no ifs, no buts about it now. We need our independence. And the longer that this goes on,
the worse it gets.
I'm not going to go into the politics, right?
I'm trying not to, Daniel, so don't.
No. But we need to get a fucking move on, right? And I'll put more coins in there. Right? We need to get a bloody move on. This is it. You know what I mean? I'm seeing things at the moment that the can's getting kicked again. I hope to God this is not going to happen.
Well, I'm not saying anything because then I'll start.
I think it will be.
I was saying, sorry, Raymond. Getting back to the heating and all that. I'm quite fortunate now. I'm really quite lucky in what I pay for my electricity. It used to be awful. It used to be like turn on 25 quid a month and that. But I've got my meter used to spin backwards when the sun shone really bright in my solar panels. So since I've got them sorted and things like that, it was good, right? At first, but still try to remember the old meter reading number that I gave them the last time. But anyway, I had
Come on,
it all
Wendy,
sorted.
you knew how to stop that wheel from spinning.
No, I didn't like it. I know how to stop it, but the sun done that. And as you know, it wasn't sunny that much, so it never spun backwards that much. But anyway, now it's sorted. But you've not got wages going up. Well, we get a wee kind of pay rise there, and they take more off you in tax, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. I go to shopping and things that I'm buying, like whatever is living up a quid, 50 pence, and all that adds up, so it does.
Yeah.
Aye, we've been robbed blind. I'm sick of sitting in this union. I'm sick of us losing things like the electricity, the free, everything. We're not getting the benefit of it. We need to get it now. We need to get independent as soon as possible. Give us a date and stop this mucking about. Give us a proper bleeding date.
I agree. All right, before we go for the final, around the panel for final comments, I want to share you guys one thing that I saw on the Dutch news. I don't know if it made the news in the UK, but if we're talking about inflation and attacking inflation, it was either Uganda or Zimbabwe. I'm not completely sure, so don't kick me on that. But they had bank bills of about $1 trillion. $1 trillion. And what did they do to tackle that? They made new bills and just cut 6 zeros off. Well, you can do that for cutting inflation, but that's something that they did. I hope that's never going to happen here, but oh well. Final comments.
Hope it's acceptable to stroke my pussy on live camera.
I hate that bloody word.
What, stroke?
Right.
Daniel,
You need
final,
to put a finger in that sphere jar for that word.
Daniel, final comments.
I've got 1 coin left. 1 coin.
No, see, oh, damn, you could have gave us a big finale tonight.
Daniel, final comments.
Final comments. The topics that we've touched on tonight, I think really good conversations there, and we've had different elements of what people believe and so on and so forth, and people's experiences and everything else. My final comment basically is getting the independence question out there and keep doing it. Wear yes stuff, wear yes badges, stickers, anything, wristbands, anything, especially like hoodies, t-shirts, whatever. When you're walking down the street, it makes people think, because when they look at you,
Scottish Resistance makes people think more. Scottish Resistance t-shirt. See when you wear one of them, then you get some comments.
Oh, I know. I still wear mine. I mean,
yeah.
Or you get nicked at the airport.
Yeah, like Raimond Dijkstra, the American that tried to come in wearing a Scottish Resistance t-shirt.
Yeah.
He was held in detention.
Yeah.
I still wear mine. I still wear mine. But yeah.
When did you let him out, James?
I think they kept him for about 10 days or something, and they sent him back to America. They wouldn't let him into Scotland because he was coming in with Scottish Resistance.
Oh, right. The flaming paper.
No, there was another reason, is that he only had a couple of quid on him, and he was staying here for 2 weeks or something.
Aye, I can, aye.
But he could have made this guy can make a couple hundred a day doing his piping.
I know, but
Aye.
that's another thing. Everybody gets stopped when they
couple
fit on
hundred a day and live free.
Yeah.
But okay, we're digressing in. Final comments. Daniel.
Right. Basically, wear whatever yes t-shirts, whatever. Get that message. The message out is to let people see. You let people see, and they think, whether they like it or not. Even unionists, they'll growl or whatever. But the point is, you've planted the seed. As soon as you planted that seed, the thoughts are going. The conversations will start. Please, please, please keep getting the message across. Get the conversations going. As soon as that date is given, then the people of Scotland start coming back together. Your Alba, your SNP, your Greens, even your Labour and your Tories that actually support independence. Believe it or not, we have actually got some. Believe it or not, you know. but get the message back out there. That's my final thought. Get that message out there and get people thinking again, because until that date's named, you need to keep the conversation going. Okay?
Amen.
Sarah, Scotland. Well done to the Scottish resistance.
Definitely. Wendy.
I'm going to go on mute.
Like Daniel says, but I would also say start contacting your politicians, your MPs, your MSPs, put the pressure on them, tell them what you want done. I'm not going to go into things either, but I'll hold this up. No more of this. Give us a proper date, because watch out, Team Skullduggery's about.
Yeah, he said it again, but it doesn't. You're absolutely right. Oh well. My final comment's basically the same thing I've been saying for years now. So it might sound like a broken record, but it's just, you know, I used to be SNP. I'm with the Albert Party now, but I still have good friends within the SNP. So, and I've been advocating just to leave the egos at the door, leave the party policies at the door. Independence is what is important. And you always get SNP members saying, well, all the Albas are against independence there, or they are anti-SNP. Well, some of them might be. Then I got Alba supporters calling Nicola the Führer. And I am dead against that as well. I would stand up. Hold on. If you say that the frustration is more important, hold on. My final comments. If frustrations is more important than the fight for independence, then the cause is lost. No ifs or buts about it. James, final comments.
Right, because this is Burns Day, I've got a wee quote from Robbie Burns. This proves what a great Scottish nationalist he was, Robbie Burns. I mean, when I was at school, you picked up a Burns book and you would through Burns poems and songs, and most of them had patriotic lines in them, but at school, because they were on the Brit agenda, they seem to miss all these patriotic quotes. Anyway, I'm just going to give you a few wee lines that Burns wrote. He says, "Caledonia, to thee I turn with swimming eyes. Where has the soul of freedom fled? Buried with the mighty dead." And that's some words of Robbie Burns about how he felt about this bloody union. It brought the man to tears, the fact that Scotland was being robbed with this union. What Daniel was saying about get the yes message, the thing that bothers me is, what if they change the question? What if they say, do you want to stay in the United Kingdom? Are you going to stay yes?
They've already said they're going to add a third question.
Never mind the third question. What if they say, you want to stay in the UK? Are they going to say it would be yes? That's why I say indie. That's why I run a group that says indie events. I don't say yes events. I say indie events in the group indie events. I use indie all the time, not yes, because they could change the bloody question. So that's basically it. Now, what I want to get over is resistance. We have got to show resistance. We have got to get bloody Scottish resistance t-shirts on people's backs and get them out there, because this is what's causing friction. You go through the city centre wearing a Scottish resistance t-shirt, you get bloody reaction. I mean, more reaction than you would get wearing a yes. The words resistance, that's what pisses them off, these bloody brainwashed unionists. I've got no problems wearing a Scottish resistance t-shirt anywhere I go. I'll wear it.
Exactly.
Anyway. Only one last thing to say tonight, folks. This is the Scottish resistance. We will never give up the fight for Scotland.